Hey, what's up, everyone? Thanks again for tuning in tonight. Welcome to Tales from the Pits. This is a podcast where we're going to talk about different stories within the casino industry. Tonight, we're going to feature Michelle, and here are your hosts, Jay, Jon, Mike, and Danielle.
Hi, everybody. Hey, I got stood up again. So, so it's just Jay. Jay, Jon, Mike, Danielle, Michelle. Just Jay right now. I think I do have one of my co-hosts coming in here. So, oh, hello. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. How's it going?
Yeah, good. Sorry, I suck. I'm here.
You didn't have to rush on. I mean, we still have some time.
No, it's fine. It was in my calendar, and then I don't know, my second reminder didn't go off, and yeah, I'll fix that for next time.
Okay, no worries. Okay, so everybody, thanks for coming on to our podcast, Tales from the Casino Pit. My name is Jay. My co-host for today is
Michelle.
Yes.
Hi, everyone.
Welcome. How is your week? How's everything going?
Yeah, it's been a busy week. We are in the middle of listing our house, so it's been busy.
Holy smokes, that's pretty crazy. Well, yeah, okay, we'll talk more about that after. But Jon will be on hopefully in a little bit here. I gave Mike the day off because he was on Sunday, and Danielle. I don't want to talk to Danielle right now. Just kind of threw some shade with the Oilers and stuff. So yeah. Unnecessary. Too early. Too much. So, okay, guys, everyone, we are streaming on 3 platforms right now. We're streaming on Facebook. Hello. We're streaming on the Casino Industry Canada group, and of course the Casino Dealer J YouTube channel. So thank you everyone for liking and subscribing. Totally appreciate it. Roll call. If you guys are online, just come say hi. And we do have a special guest today. So, all right, let us bring her in. You guys ever wonder who the voice of the show is? Well, the person that we're going to bring on is the voice of the show. So she's the person that you hear at the very beginning of our podcast. We have Natasha Simonowits. Hello.
Hi. How's it going?
Very good, very good. And sorry, Natasha, before we move on, our other co-host is online, so let me bring him on.
Perfect.
Hello. Hi, Jon.
Hey, how's it going? Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you. Yeah.
Cool.
Perfect. Well, thanks for jumping on right now. So, Natasha, could you let everyone know everything about yourself? Which casinos you worked at, and I know, like, life story from just birth and moving on. So,
well, Jay asked me to be here today because I've been involved in the casino industry for quite some time. I probably started in the casino industry like 15 years ago. I was thinking back today, and I was like, I've been involved with the casino for quite some time. I started at the slots in back at the Yellowhead Casino, actually. And so, that was probably about 15 years ago. And then from there, I actually started DJing at the Party Pit at Baccarat Casino. So that was interesting. Yeah, it was pretty cool. We had some go-go dancers, and we were DJing there every weekend. So that was pretty sweet. And then I actually moved to Grand Villa. So that was my most recent that was probably 2 years ago now. I was at Grand Villa, and I was bartending there. And then I started DJing it at Match as well. So I DJ'd at Match at the Grand Villa Casino, and then I DJ'd at Match at the West End location too. So I've been involved with the casino for quite some time.
Yeah. So I'm just going to open the floor. Michelle, did you want to ask any questions before we go?
I don't know if I have any yet.
Okay, Jon.
So, hi Natasha. I don't think we've ever met. I hear you on the intros every week, so it's pretty cool. But so I just have a question. If you can hear me.
Yeah.
So you've been in the business for about 15 years. What have you seen change over those 15 years?
Well, for me, like I said, I've been to many different casinos, so just the atmosphere in every casino was a little bit different, right? Like for me, it was a huge change to go from somewhere like Yellowhead to Grand Villa, right? Because Grand Villa was just insane because I was working there during playoffs. So, it'd be pretty slow, pretty steady. But that rush before and after the game was crazy. So it was just a completely different atmosphere from one casino to the other. But it was a really busy time because I was there during playoffs. So it was pretty cool.
Yeah. So I think that was pretty exciting. Unfortunately, the Oilers were never really into the thick of things, and we never got to see that much activity. And I can understand because like Grand Villa was new at the time, and Ice District was just kind of being built. But I can understand like for you, was it difficult when there weren't any concerts or there weren't any playoff games? How was the atmosphere then? Like,
at Grand Villa, it was pretty slow. Like, I wouldn't really work in the days. I would work in the evenings, but it was still pretty slow, I would have to say, compared to somewhere like Baccarat. Like, I always found Baccarat quite a bit busier, just like on a normal day, right? But Grand Villa, I found, was just like super busy during those games or concerts. Like, it was insane, right? But when we didn't have the games and the concerts, it was slower, I would say. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. So actually, I've known Natasha for quite a while, and we actually did meet when you actually started in the party pit. And I think that was really cool when you jumped in there because it was, at the time it was Baccarat and they were just trying something new. How was it, just jumping in to become a DJ? What was what kind of inspired you to be a DJ?
Yeah, well, I think it was when I was probably like around 16 or so, just really into music in general. So I remember saying to myself and my friends that I was going to DJ. Like, I just love music and I wanted to DJ. So when I turned 18, I actually bought my own set of turntables. And then I just, started playing around in my basement, and I was a basement DJ for a couple years. And actually, Jay, when I met you, that was probably like 15 years ago or something like that. So I think one of my first few gigs was because of you, the party pit. I think that was one of my first few gigs actually out and about. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, actually, I thought it was pretty awesome. It was a really good opportunity, right? And it was the first time that we could actually just play different kind of music rather than the regular 50s and 60s that you would normally hear at every single casino in Edmonton. It's
yeah, and it was cool. Like, we had dancers, and yeah, it was pretty sweet.
Just one photo that I did want to share because I kind of retired from like DJing. Well, I was doing a lot of other things, but you kind of continued on and you did a lot of other things, after Grand Villa. So I have a set of photos that I wanted to show. Could you kind of give us a little bit of a background on this?
Yeah. Yeah. So those are a few pics from some pretty awesome DJ moments for sure. So the one on the left was Bomb Fest here in Edmonton. That's a pretty huge festival. I think that one was 2 days. And I got to 2 or 3 days. I got to play on the Sunday. So I had an hour set on the main stage. So that was pretty awesome. That's the picture on the left there. And then the picture in the middle and on the right, I had the opportunity to DJ on Yacht Life. Yacht Life is a yacht that cruises around Europe. So they have different tours, and I was on the Mediterranean tour. So I did Turkey and Greece, and I was their DJ for a week. So for 1 week, I lived on the yacht with 20 other people from around the world. And yeah, that was a crazy, awesome experience. And I got to DJ on the yacht all day, all night, but then we would dock in different cities. So I got to play in the clubs in Greece and in Turkey. In Turkey, there was like this huge catamaran nightclub that went till 6 a.m. And there was like over 1,000 people at this club. It was awesome. And I got to play a set at like 3 a.m. there. So that was really cool. Yeah, and then I played at some other festivals around the city. I've done a lot of gigs around Alberta. So I did like little Alberta tours and different nightclubs around Alberta. And then have had some residencies in Edmonton as well. So those are just some big highlights, those pictures that you showed. So, yeah.
So cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, if you have any questions for Natasha, make sure you just send them in the comments. She is on for the first part of the show. So if you have any questions about DJing, we're also going to be talking about your time as Miss Universe and your fitness journey. That was the other thing as well, right?
Yeah.
Awesome. So does someone want to ask a question?
Yeah. So what was your involvement with Miss Universe Canada? Like, what was that experience like?
So since I was about 14, I was always involved in modeling, and then I just got involved more so in the pageant world. So I did a lot of different pageants. So I did Miss Grand Prix for 2 years. So we lived at the Sutton Hotel downtown. We got to go to the races, and I got second place 1 year for the Miss Grand Prix. And then I also did Miss Hawaiian Tropics. So I was top 10 for Miss Hawaiian Tropics, and then went to Montreal for that. So that was really awesome. And then the biggest one that I did was probably Miss Universe Canada, and did some training in Calgary, and then got to go to Toronto for a week, live that whole experience. And then I believe it was about 25, 30 maybe contestants from across Canada. Thanks, Jay. Those are the pictures there. But yeah, this is back in 2010. So it was a while ago, but what a cool experience for sure. Loved it. This is what kind of brought me into the fitness journey. So what Jay brought up there, I guess I'll touch on that after. But this whole background of like the modeling and the pageantry kind of led me to my fitness journey, which I just did a couple of years ago.
Awesome.
That's really cool.
Thanks. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah, the thing I love about you, Natasha, is that every time, like, since we like met, you always had a project going, and you've always, like, for me, your work ethic is just beyond the charts. It's just amazing. Every time we talk, you're doing something. So it's just like, oh, holy cow.
Thank you.
So yeah, no, it's so cool. It's just so cool to know somebody that has like that kind of work ethic, right? So that's why I love like having you on, because it's like, even like, you had involvement in the casino industry, but you did so many other things like beyond that, which is, I don't know, it's kind of incredible. So
thank you.
Yeah. John, do you have anything to add?
No, it's kind of cool you've done so many like diverse things. So how did, like, a few of us here have worked on ships in some way, shape, or form. How did you get to go and be a DJ on a ship in Europe?
Yeah, that's a good question. Well, one of my friends, he's a big DJ in the city here. I actually DJ'd with him at Match. So he actually got me the gig at Match in the casino. And so he has played on Yacht Life. And different experiences that he's had across the world, really. And so I have a good relationship with him, and he said that they needed a DJ, and he asked me. I couldn't believe it. It was like surreal. Even showing up there was very surreal, but that's how I got the opportunity. Is just had a good friend here in the city that did it every year, and he needed help. So I was there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I would love to go back. That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm so jealous. You know what? Actually, Natasha DJ'd my wedding, so that was pretty cool. That was pretty cool too.
And you DJ'd my wedding.
Yeah, exchange of services.
Yeah,
it was funny because I had a 1-year-old at the time, and we brought him over, and yeah, he was all over the place, which was kind of funny. But yeah, no, that was amazing. To DJ for you in Kelowna there, like you guys. I mean, your friends are so cool. Like I don't know, they're always a ton of fun. And I've DJ'd like like Rob's sister's wedding, and like everybody, kind of. There's been a few people like within your group there that I've been able to kind of DJ for. So
Oh yeah, like because my friends are like, well, I don't want you DJing my wedding. I'm like, why? I want to DJ your wedding. They're like, no, I want you to be there with me. I'm like, I am there with you. Trust me, I enjoy it. They're like, no. So I always get you to do it. And then I might sneak in there and like play a little bit. Yeah.
You jump in and it's like everyone just like freaks out. And then then you go out and you have drinks and then I come over and then it's just like
yeah.
Just like, it's like, yeah, okay. Got enough.
So yeah, Jay's always the go-to because my friends never want me to DJ their wedding. So I'm like, okay, get Jay Lee to do it.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what? It's cool. That DJ journey is just another part of like my my casino life. To do that party pit with you was really cool. At the same time, I was like saving money to get an engagement ring for Lindsay, and then I ended up working. We ended up working together at Marquee, which was downtown there as well. So I think it was just so cool, just because of the fact that at the time there was just like a lot of media. So then I was in the Baccarat party pit commercial, and then I was in the commercial for Marquee too. So then like you'd see my like face on 104th Street, and I'd be like, "That's me." It's like for 1 second you see like this bald guy in the end, right? Just like headphones on. But yeah, that was like my one, not even a minute. It's just like my 5 seconds of fame, right? So like you see like 2 flashes of me in there. So
yeah. Well, I have to say, Jay, you're the one that got me out of my basement and out DJing. So
hey. Yeah, no, you're awesome. I really appreciate that. Like I'm happy that you were doing that. I was just like, oh man, I hope like you make it big, and I hope you do all this stuff, and to kind of be on like I know we went to like 40 Acre Shaker in Calgary too, and that was outdoors.
Oh yeah, that's what it was called. I was thinking.
Yeah, so yeah, I remember us playing that gig, and I thought that was like awesome. But then like when you did like Bootang and you're doing all the other stuff, I was like, oh, this is so amazing. I was just really happy for you. So
thanks.
Yeah. Okay. Guys, you okay? Michelle, John.
Sure, yep. All good.
Okay, good. Just one more thing, Natasha, before you have to tend to all your other things in your life, and I know you're busy and everything, but I did want to actually ask you about, your fitness journey, because this is something a little more recent. Could you kind of tell us how you ended up? I'm going to show the photos, right? And can you just kind of let us know how this, came about and what motivated you to do it?
Yes. So as I was saying about the modeling and the pageantry, that kind of led me to this. So this is the WBFF. And what I love about this fitness competition, because there's so many different types of fitness competitions out there, but I love this one because it is so glamorous and you can wear whatever you want, like whatever style of bikini you want. And like, look at the feathers, like very Victoria's Secret. I love that part about it. You're really judged on, of course, like the shape that you're in, but your walk, your posing, and your style too. So I really love that because it does judge you on your individuality and all that. So I always wanted to do a fitness competition, but of course it just took me forever to do, because I mean, it's a lot of time. It's a lot of dedication. I did this in 2018. I met an awesome coach out of Calgary through one of my best friends, and me and my best friend actually did it together. So that made it a lot easier too, because when you're training for something like this, like it's not easy at all. It was like 7 months that I was preparing for the show, and it was hard, but like once you have that goal, it was easy. Like I thought it would be the hardest thing in the world. And there were days that of course it was tough, but I mean, I had a friend by my side and we would drive down to Calgary to go see our coach, and we'd make a little trip out of it to do our posing and our workouts. So it was just so fun. Like, it was such an amazing journey. The show was actually in Calgary, and I competed in fitness. There's 3 different categories. There's fitness, there's bikini, and then there's figure. So I did fitness, and then there was also commercial modeling. So I did the commercial modeling and I did the fitness, and I actually placed first. So I got my pro card. So now, if I want to compete again, I would go to Worlds. So Worlds is like on a whole nother level. It's insane. They hold Worlds, like they've done it in Atlantic City and Bahamas, and, you know, like just the most craziest places. And there's the top fitness models from around the world competing in those ones. So of course I would love to do that one day, but we'll see if I have the time anytime soon. I mean, I just had a kid, so I have a 1-year-old now. So, but would I want to compete in Worlds? For sure. Like, I really, really would. It was amazing. It was an amazing experience. So I would love to do that. So that might be another goal, Jay. So you might hear me saying I'm going to do that one day soon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so cool. I really think you're able to do it. I mean, like, everything that you've done, you know, you've been successful at. So I don't know. It's so cool to have you on the channel, and you know, to have you kind of talk about you know, everything that you've done. You've done so much, you know, and that's what's so cool about you. So.
Well, thanks. Yeah. When you asked me to be on, I was like, why? And you're like, you've done all these things. I'm like, okay. I didn't really.
And you're like, yeah, I guess I did. But it's, like, it's just like normal, right?
That's why I'm like looking at my paper, because I'm like, okay, I just kind of wrote things down because I'm like thinking of like, okay, what did I do? So I was just like, had my notes. So I'm like, oh yeah, I did do a lot of things. So yeah.
Well, Jon and Michelle, any final questions?
No, it's really impressive what you've done, and now you've got a 1-year-old as well, so that's going to be another challenge. So I mean,
it is sleep training. That's a challenge. yeah.
So good luck with that.
Thank you.
How long does it take you, like, and this isn't pertaining to like having a child, but just in general, like I'm sure you're very fit on a regular basis, but competing is a whole different level, right? So how much notice would you want before you decided to compete? Like, how long does it take you to be ready?
Well, like I said, for the last one, it took me about 7 months to prepare. But since then, I would say I'm more, I keep up more with my fitness since then. So I don't think it would take me as long this time around. However, it is World. So you're competing against the best in the world. So I would definitely probably give myself half a year for sure to prepare for that. Yeah.
All right. So cool. Well, Natasha, thank you for, you know, one of the most important things that you're doing is being the voice of our podcast, because that's probably the most important thing in the world. So.
Well, thanks. You're welcome.
Well, thank you so much for being on, Natasha. Say hi to Rob for me. Tell him I miss his face.
I will. I know COVID and everything happened, but
yeah, we
need to get together for real.
Yeah, at some point, probably at Starlight or Grand Villa there. So we'll see what happens, because casinos.
Things are going to open up right away, so that's exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Natasha, thank you so much for being on, and you know what? Enjoy I hope you get some sleep.
Well, he's sleeping now. He stopped crying, so we're good.
Okay.
So it's me time now.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for being on.
Thanks, guys. Nice to meet you.
Bye, you too.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye. All right. Thanks, guys. You know, it's difficult because, you know, I try to like bring some other people in from like other industries, and then sometimes it's like, oh yeah, I guess I never really worked in slots, so I don't really have a lot of slot questions to ask. So.
When I first came to Canada, when I worked in the Palace, they guaranteed me, I think, 1 shift a week, and it was like, oh, I'm gonna pay you $8.10 an hour, and you'll get 7 hours a week. I was like, okay, that's not much. So I got a job. I got a job in Northlands as a slot attendant, because I was like, well, I can't work with just one shift a week. And I knew nothing about slots. And I pretty much just used to tell people if I couldn't get a coin out, I'd be like, oh, I broke it. And then I'd just turn it off. That was it. I'd be like, open it up. I'd look and I go, I have no idea. And I go, you broke it. And then I'd turn it off. And I'd have to find another slot. So that was my only experience with the slots.
How long did you work there, John?
I think it was about 2.5 months. And I never told him at the Palace. And I kind of let it slip one day. And I was like, oh, yeah. Some days I was working like, I don't know, 10 hours. I mean, like 10 hours there, and I'd work like 7 hours in a casino. I was like, oh my God, what am I doing? It was like crazy. And then I think Steve come up to you one day and he's like, are you working in Northlands in like the slot area? I was like, yeah, well, you're not giving me enough hours. And he's like, you can't work in both places at the same time. I was like, but they have no, and I was like, to me, it made sense. It was like, well, they don't have tables and I'm in the slots. And I'm on slots tables here, and I'm not on the slot, so it's like different. He's like, "Oh no, you can't do it." So I was like, "Okay, I'll quit that one," because I was so bad. I was terrible at it.
You're probably one of the only one, if not the only one, who ever did that. Because it's a pretty known thing that you can't work in more than one casino. I mean, for us it was.
When you say it's a pretty known thing, that's to normal people. I was obviously well too stupid.
That's hilarious. I'm actually surprised. Well, I guess back then they weren't really using like casino track, right? So now it would probably flag somehow. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, they didn't have casino track. Yeah, because I remember like it was when I first came. So this was in like 2000, and I was allowed to work New Year's Eve like 2000, well, like 1999, whatever. So yeah, it was probably the first couple of months that I worked in the casino. Ooh.
Wow.
It was funny though, because I go from one to the other. I just thought it was normal. I'm like, oh, I'm not doing that.
Too funny.
I'm surprised nobody said anything like if you're going from like Northlands back, it's like, oh, I'm just putting on my vest and everything and put it on your name tag. It's like,
yeah, it was so weird. Like thinking of it, I don't know anybody else who did it, worked in both places at the same time.
Because it's not allowed.
Yeah, see, nobody else was stupid. And I remember at the time, Northlands used to let the waitresses and whoever worked in the place gamble, on the slots. So you'd have the waitresses going around like offering drinks. They'd finish their shift and then they start playing on the same slots. It was like, this is so weird. It was like,
well, I remember being in Vegas one time and I was playing, and then the dealer who was dealing to us finished his shift, put a jacket on, and sat down at the table I was playing at. And I was like, what is happening right now? And I was so confused. That was that's how I learned that in Vegas, I mean, there might be the odd casino that has a policy, but in general, you can play at the casino you work at.
That's
you want people to gamble. I mean, I get it. I was like, what just happened? It was weird.
A friend of mine I worked with a long time ago, he ended up, he's this English guy, and he used to be this crazy drinker, and he was working in Vegas, and he kind of got drunk at work, and he went on break, and he went, had a few more drinks, and when he went back, he kind of got a little bit lost, and he walked onto the wrong table in the wrong casino. He went back on a dice table in the wrong casino. And he said he only realized he was on the wrong table when he looked down at the felt, and it was a different color. And he was like,
oh my God.
He was like, where am I? What am I doing? Yeah, and then he realized he was in the wrong casino.
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
oh my God.
But when I met him, he was completely teetotal. And I was like, why don't you drink? And then he started telling me stories. And I'm like, oh, I get it now. Now I know why you don't drink, because you do crazy shit when you drink.
So funny.
Oh my God. Yeah, you know what? Oh my God. That's ridiculous. I was like, no, I'm not going to engage. So hello, everybody that's on. It's 9:00. I think we'll be on for about an hour. Come say hi. Have no comments yet. It's kind of weird.
By the way, Michelle, it's really cool that you've joined the gang to come on every week or so whenever we're going to have this. So yeah,
It'll be fun. I mean, I love you guys. I feel like I'm just like on a video chat, just hanging with you guys, and then every once in a while, I'm like, oh yeah, there's other people watching us. Sometimes I have to be.
I'm the same way, to be honest. When when we were first doing this, like what is like a year ago now, you know, and they'd be like, oh, we can't go anywhere, we can't drink, and I'm like, oh, I'm just gonna have a drink while I'm doing it, maybe two, and they'd be like 2 hours, and I've had too many. I'd be like, John, it's not just a video call with me and Jay and someone else. Don't say any, and I used to keep saying it to myself, don't say anything embarrassing. It's going out live.
And then Jay's like, you know, you might take my spot sometimes. I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like host stuff? I'm like, hold on, I'm not ready for that. Like, no, not yet.
I still can't get the intro down. Do you know what I mean? I try and I'm like, and I keep, like right now, I'm not even looking at the screen. So I was like, so pointing at stuff, yeah. But
the intro is there. All you have to do is press start intro, and then because
no, when you talk and say like hello, do you know? I don't know why. For some reason, I can't get that. Hello, how's everybody? Blah 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 blah. You know, like what you do, and I'm like, maybe you should just be recorded and get. Maybe Natasha can say that part too, and then you know, then Michelle and I and Mike and you, whatever, we could just jump straight in.
So John says hello.
Exactly. I'll just tweet like that. You know, hi.
Trying to figure out who this is. Someone saying hi. Hello. I have to go check the casino industry group now. Colleen. Hello, Colleen. Colleen D, since we don't use last names. Unless you...
Hey, hello, Colleen.
Yeah. Thanks for messaging. See, we have a listener. That's great. Yeah, it's an Ask Us Anything now for the remainder of the episode. I wasn't really going to be on. I wasn't feeling that great at the start of the day. But hey, I'm not leaving now. Too bad.
So here's a question, because we're asking us anything. What do you think about the new potential casinos opening in 3 weeks-ish, 4 weeks, whatever it's going to be?
Go ahead, Michelle. Good question.
Well, this is a tough one for me. I'm not in the industry, right? So I didn't have the experience of how it happened last time, because they opened once briefly, right, during COVID. Briefly for Gateway, because it took them a long time, right, compared to some of the other casinos. So I don't know what that was. I have nothing to compare it with. It's interesting. It seems fast to me, but the whole reopening thing seems fast to me compared to what we've been used to for the last year and a bit, right? So I guess with the vaccine, it's a different story, and there's all that science that's coming out. So I tend to trust the people that are smarter than me when it comes to the science stuff. But yeah, also kind of wait and see what happens. But excited for everyone who wants to go back. I know a lot of people want to go back to work, and so I'm definitely happy, you know, that they're going to have that opportunity, hopefully.
Yeah, I think hopefully it's sooner rather than later, because I'm sure a lot of people want to go back to work, and you know, and it's been a tough time this last 18 months. So I'm imagining when that door opens, it'll be like, remember like Boxing Day afternoon, after the casino being closed for like 1 day, and they'd be full of people just like running to get their favorite
the door, camped out.
Exactly, yeah. It'd be like, like a Boxing Day sale. So I'm thinking it'll be like that. People will be like, oh my God, finally I can go out and drink and party and have fun and just forget. So I'm looking forward to it. I mean, I haven't been to a casino for a while, but I might go and just have a laugh. Rhonda will go as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did go with Lindsay. Actually showed that in my J vlog, actually, when we went to Argyle after the first reopening, and it was like later in, and then it was like I think a week after they shut it down again. But I always said that what they were doing there was really close to what I was running into at the hospitals, because they had it lined up. They would screen you, they would check your temperature, you know, make sure you had the mask, and then you were, you know, socially distant. And I think they put in like a very good effort. And that casino like went through renovations as well. So I was really surprised. And I felt that it was the same as, you know, going to, like it was better than Walmart. That's how I felt when I was there, right? So
I think my biggest concern, like when I thought about the logistics of opening the casino during COVID, is the chips, right? I think a lot of stuff you can get around, like slots. It's a lot of paper now and individual receipts and stuff. And you can always take care of the buttons by sanitizing before and after when you're using them. But the chips, it's like there's so much contact with the chips and so many people touch the chips. That was the one I thought was the toughest to get around.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, John.
Like the last time I was in a casino, I volunteered like during the COVID at, we've talked about this before when I was there, it felt like 13, 14 hours. It was insane. I think that's going to be a big challenge because in all honesty, I don't think I would volunteer again while it's doing it because it was because they had the reduced number of volunteers. So like, oh, we'll just have reduced number of volunteers. But then those 3 or 4 volunteers have to work such a long day. It was 5 in the morning. And I had to get up and go to work the next day. And I was exhausted. And I was like, oh my God, I'm never doing this ever again. You know what I mean?
Uh-oh, John, I think can you hear John?
No, he's cutting out for me. And now he's frozen.
It's such a good story that he froze.
I think he got to the brunt of it.
I think you better jump off and jump back on. All right. Just Colleen says excited. John, jump on when you're ready. While we're at this point here, Colleen also asks, any stories about times your casino should have closed but didn't? I remember a fire in the downtown ABS where you could see smoke but no one moved.
That sounds about right for a casino.
Do you have any stories about?
I don't know about should have closed, but it makes me think. I think there's been a couple times where there's been a fire alarm going off, and when fire alarms go off, my recollection is lids up, right? And but sometimes lids up and not and stay there. And I remember people just sitting in front of their slot machine for hours sometimes, just waiting to be able to play again. And again, it's kind of crazy.
I remember when I was working at Argyle, they actually had, I think the power went out. That's the first time that I kind of went through that. But yeah, they ended up shutting down the casino, but it took a long time. It was a long process. And, when you have a really busy kitchen, those air fryers, they just stink up the whole casino and there's nothing you can do about it. And it's just oh, wow, this is brutal. So I know, everybody that I worked with at Baccarat when I was there, they're like, oh yeah, when are we going to have these brownouts and stuff like that? They're always telling me, right? But I never was in any of them. And then Argyle was one of the first times I was actually into a full blackout. I'm like, oh crap, this is crazy. So
it's a good point. It has to be out long enough too for you to even get if you're hoping to go home or get a break and get paid or whatever. But otherwise, you just stand there for a while, which is the worst ever. That's my least favorite thing on the planet is standing at a dead blackjack table or gaming table working. It's just the worst.
Sorry, my Wi-Fi was a bit dodgy. I don't know what's going on with it, but I remember the first casino I worked in. It was a privately owned casino, and it was pretty big, I guess. It was whatever. And I kind of annoyed one of the games managers, and I went away. And when I came back, and I went to work there. He was so mad at me. He put me on the tables facing the wall. And they were usually the dead tables. Nobody was allowed to speak to me on the table. So I'd stand there, and he would make me stay there for as long as possible. At the time, it was an hour and 20. And I'd stand there, and I just count the stripes in the wallpaper for an hour and 20. And it was just okay. And because it was when you look at those things, and all of a sudden, your mind, it just blurs the vision. I'm like, I don't know, I have to go back again. And that was it. Nobody could speak to me, but I ended up with the last break. And I just thought it was funny. I'm like, this guy's an idiot. What is he doing? I'm just standing around doing nothing. And there was this one guy who was equally as hated, and his name was Glyn. And he was quite crazy. He was a pit boss. And he goes, I don't care if Kevin hates me. I'll talk to you. So he was the only one in the entire casino because everyone else was scared of this guy called Kevin. But Glenn was just fearless. He's like, I don't care. I'll talk to you. So I used to try and get on his tables. So he would talk to me, and he was slightly crazy. And then I'd count the stripes in the wallpaper for an hour and 20. That was pretty much my night.
That's funny. Colleen, thank you for the question. Thanks for messaging. Totally appreciate those. I love it. Yeah, I think last week we had to answer. I forgot what the shop question was. It was a poker question, I think. But yeah, I don't know. It's cool. I love it when you guys, when you comment.
Sorry, what was the comment? Because my Wi-Fi kicked out and I missed it. So I might have been talking about some completely random question that had nothing to do with Colleen's question at all.
Okay, so I'll repeat the question. Any stories about times your casino should have closed but didn't?
Oh, Michelle, were you there when the West Edmonton Mall flooded?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah, and it flooded, and they ended up having to close it. They closed West Edmonton Mall, and the roof was all leaking in the palace, so they shut it all down. I think the power, and it flooded the ice rink, and some of the panes of glass came in, and the water got into like the whatever the central power is in West Edmonton Mall. So they had to close they had to shut the mall and get everybody out because they thought it could electrocute or whatever. So we were in the palace, we were in the casino. And we didn't know what was going on. So we're like, okay, well, let's just wait. And then eventually everyone just sat around by slot machines and stuff. And then eventually they're all turned off. And then we basically, all the power went on. And then the backup lights came on. Like there's some like backup lights. And then, people obviously left by that point. And then then the backup lights failed. Like the batteries went out. We were there for so long. And I remember that Loretta was like super smart. And she's like, before all the power went, so we were in total darkness. She grabbed a flashlight from one of the bureaus, and we had to go like individually into the changing room with a flashlight to try and get changed and grab our stuff and come back out and go home. But yeah, they shut the mall and everything. It was crazy.
Wow, I don't remember that. But I have a terrible memory. So I'll remember the detail, like every detail of the story. And they'll be like, yeah, someone else will tell the story. And they're like, I don't remember that. Like, you were there. I'm like, no, like literally. So I may have been working. I don't think I was there when that happened, but I may have been working there at the time and just don't remember. That's really,
it was crazy. I remember, do you remember the big light above the craps table? It was a big, it was like tiered lights.
Yeah.
I remember when by the stairs, I remember sitting there and there was water kind of cascading out of it. And I was like, I'm no electrician, but I'm pretty sure that's not a good idea.
That's dangerous.
It was crazy. And I think what they ended up doing, all of like the slot people and everything, they just went around, took everybody's names and said, okay, what's your name? And when we can turn the slots on tomorrow, we'll, contact information. We'll get, what slots, the number, the amount you had in your machine and stuff like that. But yeah, that was a crazy one, but it took quite a long time for us to close because we didn't know anything, right? We didn't know when it was going to come back on again or anything like that. So that was a weird one.
That would be a weird one, especially with the slot machines. People having money in there and stuff.
Oh yeah.
I also worked on a cruise ship where it was really rough and the tables weren't bolted down in the casino. And I think it was in the Caribbean during hurricane season, and we were there and literally people obviously the players are like, the first thing they do when it's get rocky, they grab the table and I'd be on the craps table, and luckily there was a wall behind us, right? So all the players would grab the table, and they would just get pushed towards us. And literally, there was like me and the other base dealer would be on the other side, trying to put our legs against the wall to push it back, so we didn't like crush and kill the box. But it was like this. I'd be like, okay, push it back, and it'd be, it would go the other way. We push it back. It was, that was kind of crazy. Eventually, they did close that. Yeah, eventually they did close that one because they're like, especially when, do you know those, I can't remember the name of the machine, but you put the coin in, it drops, and then there's those things that come like back and forth, and they drop down.
And it like knocks them over and stuff?
Yeah. Well, the manager eventually turned around and said, you know what, we're closing the casino because that thing fell over. It just went, and we're like, okay, that's a sign that we shouldn't be in here. So he's like, okay, we're done. Casino's closed.
That's hilarious. As soon as you said, and the tables weren't bolted down, I just had images in my head of like tables moving around.
Because it's, I suppose it's the common nature. The first thing you do on a table, you'd be like, you would grab it, right? But like they're grabbing it, and everyone's be moving it, and they'd be like, oh my god, it was just chaotic.
Making it heavier.
Exactly. And the dealers are trying to keep it up so it just doesn't push them over. Oh god, it was chaos. It was, thinking back, it was quite funny.
That is hilarious.
Sorry, I did have a question for both of you. Did you know that you can actually now bet your 649 online through the Play Alberta?
I saw that in an online ad like a couple days ago. I was like, wow. That surprised me. I like not that surprised by tech advances, but I was pretty surprised by that one.
Yeah, so was I.
That's pretty cool. I saw they were doing like, the excuse me, the Oilers 50-50 online. So I'm like, I think a lot of this stuff is going to be like progress. I think it's at some point now we're going to get like real online betting in Alberta. I want to bet like the Oilers to win or the Oilers to lose, not like the stupid stuff we get now, or the coin toss, anything. Just let people bet whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now,
yeah.
Does that, if I do it online, does that take money away from like, I don't know, 7-Eleven if I get like my tickets there? I don't know how that works. So.
Maybe. I don't know what their share is.
I'm sure they must, in all honesty, thinking about if you had a business and you're like, oh, I'm selling lottery tickets, I'm sure they must get some kind of, revenue share. I think they also get like a bonus as well if somebody gets a big win. Like when you see like that giant check, like, hey, look, not like he won $1.55 and he got a free pick, but I mean, I think they get like a bonus on the bigger wins. I'm not sure how much though.
I'm getting a no, so I don't know if that's.
They don't make any money off them?
Yeah, maybe not.
I suppose it could be like people go into the mall, the 7-Eleven, and they buy things as well, right? I mean,
yeah. So Colleen says no. Yeah. Well, I guess it's easier for like the vendor then, because then they'll be like, yeah, well, I don't have to worry about that anymore. Just get rid of the machines. All right. Yeah. I don't know.
I signed up when I was working in a corporate office downtown. A group of us, I think it was like 18 of us, so we signed up for like a year's worth of lottery tickets. Oh, yeah. And then so we paid X amount of dollars and whatever. We had our own like bank account for it, so the money would go in and all the winnings would go in and whatever. And it was kind of like a pyramid scheme. I could never get out of it. I was always like, we didn't win. How much did we win? Nothing. Okay. So at the end of the year, be like, all right, how much do you need? Because I couldn't be the one that you'd see in the paper would be like, oh, one person left and they won $65 million. So I was like, I don't care. I just couldn't live with myself. If for like, $35, I did that, I dropped out. So I think for the 5 years, we never won anything. Like a couple of free picks and stuff like that. But I was too scared. I was like, I can't be that one person who drops out and then you all win and retire. And I'd have a sad story to tell for the rest of my life. Because I was too cheap for $35.
I like when they win. It's like, oh, we won like 500. It's like, are you gonna split it? It's like, no, we're gonna parlay it. Oh, couldn't you just like parlay half of it? No.
I remember seeing this like this lottery winner. It was probably Florida because all crazy things happen in Florida apparently. And this woman was about 75 years old. And there was like those payments for life, and they were like paying her like 10 grand a year for like 40 years. And they showed with the check, and she didn't look happy at all. You know what I mean? It was just like, bless her, she probably wouldn't get the full value of this, bonus for the 40 odd years. But I don't know. It was just funny that she was, out of all the lottery winners I've ever seen a picture of, she was the least happy to have actually won.
That's funny. Okay, if you guys have any questions for Jon and Michelle, because I've done this already, please ask them while we have them on.
Exactly.
I had one last week, actually. My question for both of you. It's a good one. If you could only work one rotation for the rest of your life, what would it be? A 3-station rotation, 3 tables, or whatever. Mike said craps, so he just wanted to be on craps. So then I said, sure, Mike, and then I'll just put you on stick forever for the rest of your life.
Yeah, you gotta be real specific. You can't just say crap, right?
Yes.
Like I would say either base poker or base poker. And you know, like if I obviously like would choose games that are interesting, like Omaha 8 or Pot Limit or something like that.
Would it?
Yeah.
Okay, so we got 3 positions, like 3 spots that we'd have to be in.
Yes.
Okay, I would go stick, base, chip.
Oh, nice.
Chip on the roulette table.
Yeah.
Like, you know, because to be honest, it's like chipping. It was just a break, right? You'd just be like, you'd have a laugh and joking around.
Yeah. That's a good one. I might change mine to include roulette. But I could do without stick for the rest of my life. That is not my my happy place.
I love being on stick. I don't know, because obviously everybody hates it to start with, but I mean, at the end, I loved it. I just thought I used to have so much fun. I think it was because we just used to make fun of. I wouldn't say make fun of people, but it was. People believed you. It was you know, so silly sometimes where you're like, hey, stand behind the yellow line. You see people looking for a yellow line and like, what you know, because it just caused confusion, right? But so yeah, I just thought it was, I don't know, a place where you can cause havoc. To be honest,
I totally get the appeal, right? And for people like you and Lars, like thrive in that kind of role, I get it. I think for me, it's just not. I was just always worried about coming up with interesting things to say. Like I was always worried about like being interesting. I'd rather just do the math.
I can't remember what casino I worked in, but there used to be a player who came in and he was brutal. Like he was a fun guy, but if you were bordering on a stick, he used to shout, "Get the corpse off the stick!" And he was like demoralizing. He was like, you know, like especially trainees, and he'd be like, "Just shut up, Rob. Just stop it." And he'd be like, and he'd laugh because he'd think he's funny because he's just, you know, like you see, like he's crushed that poor guy on the stick or girl, whatever, because they're trying their best to say something funny and witty that everybody's heard before. But it's like, oh my god, yeah.
Sorry, just to add, Colleen says chipper, shuffle, early out. There you go. And this is chipper shuffle table, early out.
Yeah, that would be good.
I was by far the worst. I was the worst employee the last few years, like prior to COVID, because I work 1 day a month and I would ask to be put on the EO list. Like, you work 1 day a month. Are you serious? Like, yeah. Well, it's hard, right? Like I was working 7 to 3 at the hospital, and then I was working 7 to 3 on the Friday night. So it was just like,
I mean, I worked at River Cree. Like after I left, you know, I had a full-time job outside of the casino. Shortly after, I went back and worked a bit of part-time at River Cree just to make some extra money. And I went early out like every single time I worked because I worked at 8 in the morning. So it was like if I had to work on a weekday, like you always have to work a certain amount of shifts depending on the casino to retain the position, right? So I'd like always take the shifts I had to take, but then if it was a weekday, it was early out all the time because I had to work at 8 in the morning. So, you know, I would work like 7 to 11 happily, but did not want to work till 2 or 3 in the morning.
No.
I hear you.
But I only did that, I don't know, maybe 9 months. I didn't work there that long doing both.
Yeah. Okay.
So I thought of a question actually the other day, and I thought I'd bring it up and on here while we're chatting. So do you think the tips should be split per shift? God, so, you know, like you've got a day shift and then a night shift. Or because to me, and this is my rationale. I mean, like, because, you know, typically you're making more money at night. And, you know, you don't typically, well, most casinos I ever worked in, they never give you like a shift differential for working like, you know, the night shift, whatever. So why should the people who work in, you know, up at, you know, the day shift part of it, which is semi-normal, I suppose, get the same as somebody working the night shift where they would be making more money, like more tips and doing stuff like that. So I was just thinking, I think it should be shift. The tips should be shared per shift as opposed to like the day or 2 days, whatever. What are your thoughts?
We talked about, so what was the question we talked about? Was it last week, Jay, or there was a question similar to this? What was that question?
Well, yeah. So on Sunday we actually talked about this, and there I did want to add something to my reply, because when I thought about it, I'm like, it's not a very good answer. But no, you go first, Michelle. Kevin, we'll answer your question next, actually, because you got three dice people here. So
yeah.
But go ahead, Michelle.
I understand the rationale of what John's saying. I don't know. I feel like I would change my answer on this depending on someone else's opinion. I really understand the benefit of being incentivized to earn your tips, right? So whether it's dealing faster and treating the players well, and the way we get tips, right, is by dealing fast and treating the players well and all that kind of stuff. So when you pool it, the incentive goes away a little bit because you don't see it directly for your contribution. Splitting it by shift doesn't really solve that problem, right? Like it's still by shift. But when you think about waitresses get better tips at night because it's busier, right? Because there's more action, and it kind of makes up for it being a tougher shift to work compared to how normal life exists, right? So I definitely get the pooled by shift, but I don't know. I think it's always such a tough thing. I feel like my answer to this question. That wasn't really an answer, but that's what I'm going with right now.
just ride that fence. That's fine.
I think because there's also so Jay, that was very political there. Right? Like you're like, okay, I'll just take either side of the fence. So what's your thoughts, Jay?
See, that's the thing. I have to take both sides too. At first, I was like, well, how is it fair that I'm working all games and I'm working poker, and then there's people that refuse to work poker? But then I realized, like, it's been since Sunday I said that, I realized that when I started, I was making a cut of poker tips too, right? So like, it's super impossible to split it fairly where everybody is okay with it. And then we can even expand it. So it's like, well, should floor supervisors make tips? I mean, it's really touchy, if I ask you that question, because some people will be like, I don't care, and some people will be like, I totally care, right? You're taking money away from from me. Why, right? I see, like, we can go down this rabbit hole, and I don't know if it's a good idea, because it's like day to night, 2 days, 1 day. I totally think that, like, at least 1 day. So if I'm doing the Saturday, I should get Saturday tips. Not Friday, Saturday as much as I want to, or Saturday, Sunday, which kind of sucks, right? I think it should just be per day, but I don't know how to split it up after that because it's really confusing. And what about swing shift? You have like those mid shifts. So how are you going to split that up, right?
Well, wouldn't it be because, like in the palace, like you just break it up by hours, right? So if you worked a day, you get X amount of dollars per hour, whatever it was. And if it was a night, it'd be X amount of dollars per hour. If you work both, well, you get 3 hours from one, 4 hours from the other, whatever. I mean, I think that dynamic wouldn't be too difficult to kind of like, but honestly, I think that if I was, I know this is crazy, but I think if I ever owned a casino, I'd be like, you're not allowed to tip, because pay the people more so they'd be better at their jobs. And because we all know, as soon as the money leaves the table, goes in the tip box, well, the casino has no action on that, right? They got no chance of getting that money back, right? So admittedly, what's going to happen though is that money then goes to the other casino in the city, because the dealers are going to get paid and go over to like the other casino and play poker. So not only do you not have a chance to get that money back, your competitor is getting the money that you could have had an opportunity to win, right?
I'd be interested to see the economics on that, like what you're talking about, not allowing tipping and paying the dealers more, and seeing if that was realistic. Because I don't know, like I've never worked on the business side of the casinos in Alberta and looking at like the cut and profit and stuff like that. I just don't have that background, but it would be interesting to see the economics, because I, as a like when I work and when I've been a manager in business, and I'm like my I have subscribed to the people over everything mantra and taking care of the people. You take care of your people, they'll take care of your customers. And so that doesn't, in my experience, isn't really the case in the casino industry. So, you know, maybe if someone did that, you'd see the impact of doing something like that.
Yeah.
I just remember reading a quote about Henry Ford when he paid double the going wage for when they worked at the Ford factory when he first rolled it out. And it wasn't just because he was like, hey, I just want to pay people the most. He got to pick the best people, and they stayed because they got paid more. So you imagine if you had a casino in Edmonton, you're like, okay, you know, all right, we're getting the minimum wage is $15. Well, we're going to pay you $20 an hour or $25 an hour, whatever it is, but you're not going to get any tips. All the tips, we just say nope, and the player keeps it. I mean, I know, like when I worked in casinos in Britain, the dealers weren't allowed tips. The waitresses were making $100,000 a year because they would just tip the waitress, right? But it's, I don't know. I think you have a more stabilized income, right? As you know, you could afford things. If you want to buy a car, you want to buy a house, you want to buy whatever, you know, all of a sudden you've got a realistic income. You're not making minimum wage and like these tips that you're like, yeah, guess what? I make $25 an hour playing late night poker, dealing late night poker, but well, prove it. Well, I don't pay tax on it. So then, you know, do you know what I mean? So I think economically, I think dealers would be better if they didn't accept tips and we just got paid more money. Or they just got paid more money.
Mm-hmm.
So do they still accept tips and it goes to the company? What
you mean, like in my hypothetical casino? I would just say no. Just say, well, we don't accept tips, and give it back to the player, right? And then the player would gamble it, right? Then okay, you just can carry on, like put it back on his bet and let him gamble. I know when I first worked in casinos in Britain, they weren't allowed to tip. Like I said, none of the casinos in Britain were allowed to tip. None of the casino dealers, if you worked in a casino, you weren't allowed to gamble in another casino in the entire country. It was crazy.
Oh my God, that's crazy.
Yes. So we would, like, what we used to do is, because the casino I worked in was privately owned, and there was another city, it was called Swansea, which is not too far away. It's maybe 50K away. We would drive there, a group of us, we'd rent a minivan, whatever. We'd all pile in. We'd have one designated driver. We'd go there, and there was another privately owned casino there. And we would go and pretend we weren't dealers. It was funny. We were like, I'm an electrician. And my friend who was dyslexic couldn't spell electrician, but he would try and write it out. And he'd be like, what are you? And he'd be like, electrician. He's like, that's not what it says. And he'd be like, it's okay. He's dyslexic. And he'd be like, oh, okay. And then we go in and we pretended to deal, we couldn't play with chips and stuff like that. And then a week later, they would come in and play in our casino. But because the owners kind of it was funny. But because the owners knew each other, they'd be like, yeah, don't worry about it. Just do it. As long as you don't do it in the casino in the city, we're okay with it. But I'm not sure now. That's why if you meet most British people back then, they didn't know how to play poker because they just have house games. They don't play real games against real people, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, see, look at all the comments that you brought up, John.
See, I know I could stir the pot.
Okay, so Colleen says all the overnight poker tips only split among a few people. You make way more money, but if a big jackpot goes and you aren't working and you don't get a piece of the pie, it sucks. Yeah, I mean that's the risk reward of doing what you're doing in whatever rotation you're in, right? So yeah, that definitely good comment.
I think overnight poker that gets the win on that in general, though.
Yeah.
Overall, they definitely do just fine.
Yep. Hi, Karen. Thank you for messaging. Nice to see you on. Karen says no one wanted to learn poker. Some thought we should keep poker tips strictly in poker. Yeah, there's going to be two sides.
You'd have more poker dealers if you did that.
Absolutely.
Or more people who wanted to deal poker, rather.
Mm-hmm.
If you did that.
Did we? I don't know if it still does. And I remember when it first started going late night and stuff like that, where they were making crazy money. They didn't they start tipping out the housemen?
No, not when I did that. It was 6 months or something that we did it. 8-hour shifts, 24 hours poker tips only.
Mm-hmm.
For I think it was about 6 months, and I don't think we tipped. I don't remember. But again, I said, remember my memory. I don't remember that we tipped out the houseman. I was in that rotation.
Yeah, no comment on that. So no. I was no, not because I'm hiding anything. I wasn't a houseman, so I can't honestly answer.
Yeah, and the reason I'm thinking of it is because why be a houseman making whatever it was an hour back then, when you could have just dropped down to be a dealer and make like 3 times the money that the houseman is making with so much less hassle, right?
I think for sure, but I don't know that everyone knew what the money was going to be like, right? I don't think, they'd never calculated an hourly tip from poker only before that happened. So I don't think anyone had a concept of how good the money was going to be when we did that. And then it only lasted, I think it was 6 months. It might've been 4, it might've been 8. Like, I don't remember exactly, but, and that's probably part of the reason, because it was just too many people. Like, we made like $40 an hour in tips, like
hypothetically.
Allegedly.
Maybe, allegedly.
I think we're past being audited for those years, so I think we're
there's no paper trail anymore.
Yeah, years and years ago. Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I'm not sure what anyone makes anymore.
Yeah, that was a long time ago. That information would not apply now. I actually have no concept of what it would be now.
We still have to get to Kevin's question here. I'm sorry, Kevin. Okay, just one more comment though from Irene. Irene says, if you split the tips between day and night shift, you would have to do a tip collection halfway through the day. Where I work, we have people starting at 6, 10, noon, 1400, 1600, 1800, all the way. Impossible to draw a line in the sand to determine a cutoff time. I mean, the logistics of having a tip committee that can cover all of that, that's definitely another thing. Probably a reason why people don't do it that way. So, and you have to pay the tip committee too, right? So maybe depends where you are, I guess.
I guess it's all what you're trying to achieve, right? Like the risk reward, like if you can, anything is possible, right? It's whether it's worth doing it, right? What's the outcome you're going to get?
Yeah.
I think the challenge he's going to get is the more senior people end up working day shifts, right? Do you know what I mean? Like, and they'd be like, oh, no, we don't want no change. But then, like, because they went through all those years working night shifts and weekends, and then, a schedule come up where they can work all days and have weekends off. But, as an incentive, if you were like a new person coming in, but like, why I'm working the unsociable hours, but why would I have not the unsociable, premium for working these hours?
I mean, again, if you compare it to waitressing, that's exactly how it's waitressing, right? You work nights, you make good money, and then you get a bit older. If you're still waitressing, you're like, nah, I want to work days, right? You make less money, but you want to work days. You have kids, whatever. So that's the choice, right? Then you have to make that choice and you have seniority. So you can choose to continue to work nights and make more money if that was the way it was.
Or even the other extreme is keep your own tips.
Yeah. I think the only tough part with dealing and I actually think that's the best way to go. I think the reason that it's for me that I'm not like hardcore that way is when you get into things like big jackpots or big wins where someone tips huge, like then you're not comparing it to waitressing anymore, right? Waitressing is it evens out over time. Even if you get the asshole who tips nothing, right? Over time, your personality and how you do your job, you'll benefit from it, right? From dealing, you could have these crazy things that happen that completely skew that. So that's the only thing that makes it a bit tougher.
I would never do KYO where I work because I would probably be on like Pagao tiles where I make 50 cents in like every 2 hours, or I'd be in like high limit baccarat where you make like $5 for like one dragon per shift. So yeah,
that's the other component, right? From game to game,
exactly.
Right? The tips are going to be way different.
And in all honesty, look at craps. I remember when I started in the Palace in 2000, they were saying, oh, they were going to keep. I think they did keep their own tips for maybe like a week or so. I can't remember. But
no, it was just the first. It was the first day, and it was $91.
Yeah, so I was like, when I came, I was like, oh man, that's a bad idea. I mean, like this table will bleed them all dry. You don't want to go on keep your own tips. It's like I was like, don't do it. I don't want to be on it if we do that.
It was $91 the first day, and then the second day, I think everyone complained, So then it's like, okay, we're back in the normal pool. And I think we made $27 for the whole day in the box. You saw the box. And it's like, that's it? Yeah, it was like just like 1 green and 2 ones. And it was like colored up over the whole afternoon. So
Should have left it uncolored. It would have
yeah.
Change them up to like 50-cent chips so it looks bigger. You know what I mean? Like, look at that. Look, we're crushing it.
I just remember us being like, okay, sure. It's like, all right, what a great segue. I'm here with 2 craps gurus. So hello, Kevin. Thanks for waiting. Hopefully you're waiting. You probably dropped off. But hey, guys, do you have any opinions on DI? Dice influencing.
What is that? I don't know what that means.
Oh, when they get the dice and they think they can control the outcome by what they do to the dice.
I already know John's answer just from that.
It drives me crazy. I think, I mean, I dealt it for 18 years, never saw anyone could do it consistently. It's like, you know, when they spot some kind of like random thing on roulette and they go, oh, it's a system. I've got it. Blah, blah, blah. But I've never seen anybody do it. I'm not saying you can't do it, you know, but I've never ever seen anybody do it. There's too many things. There's too many variables, like the chips, the dealers. There's too many hands in it. To think that you could pick up 2 square dice, throw them like 16 feet, have them land on a table, hit a bouncy, springy wall, and then land on the number you predicted, I just think that's impossible. That's my opinion anyway. But
I don't know enough about it, I think, to have an opinion. It does sound crazy just from natural how for the dice.
Sorry,
but you know,
can you say that again? Because you cut out there for me.
Oh, I don't know what I said. I said I don't know.
I think you said it's all hogwash, and whoever thinks it's a good idea is an idiot. Don't get annoyed at me. It was Michelle. That's how.
Wow.
I said it sound like I said I don't know enough about it to like have the experience that John has, but it does sound a little bit like with all the bouncing and the stuff that John said, it does sound like it would be really tough to do and not realistic, but I'm open-minded to people smarter than me. So if someone showed me something different, you might change my mind. I will probably say that a lot, by the way, because that's just how my brain works.
Oh, man. I think our very first episode, and remember, guys, for those of you that are just joining us now, this is called, like, our podcast is called Tales from the Casino Pit. The last season, it was called Talking Craps, because I had John on and I had Mike on, and I thought we were going to talk about a lot of craps. Unfortunately, you know, people got it confused with like taking craps. So I was like, no, let's just change the name. And there's a lot of other people that actually have a lot of good channels on here. And I am not just like a fan of dealing craps, but I'm a fan of playing craps too, right? So if you talk about like dice influencing, if I cheat, and when I mean cheat, I mean like to a point where you're like sliding the die, it's not like a legal throw. Yes, it can be done, right? Like, not legally. It's not like if I'm a box and I see that happen, I'm gonna be like, that's no roll for sure, right? And the other thing that bothers me about DI is if someone can do it, they're not gonna tell you they can do it. It's like, I mean, that's basically it. If I can section on roulette, I'm never gonna tell you that I can section on roulette, right? Like, and that's what bothers me. Like, if people can do it, you wouldn't know. Like, you're taking away like their bread, right? And it's like, yeah. Yeah. I have no like straight opinion on this because I have not seen. I'm not saying it can't be done. I don't know. Like, I've never seen anyone do it, and that's a problem. But is it because they can do it? So.
Yeah, but it's like, you know, in all honesty, like when you, like, we all worked in casinos for a long time and people watching have been in for a long time too. Like, you know, nobody wins consistently in casinos unless they're cheated, right? And if somebody comes in and he's just picking up 2 dice and then somehow through muscle memory and whatever, his own table at home and he practices on his weekends off, if he's doing that every single day and you're like, well, he's winning $1,000 every single day, you'd be like, what is he doing? Like, what is he doing? I mean, like, he would stand out, right? So he'd be like, well, we'd watch him and he'd be like, and I don't know about you, but guys, but I never saw anybody win every single time on any table, really, without cheating.
Or even consistently. I mean, I don't think you'd win every single time. There's always even if you're doing it, there's going to be some, it's not going to work every time, but consistently even, I don't have any recollection of that.
All right. Well, there you go, Kevin. There's your answer. John says no. Michelle says she doesn't have enough experience to see it, and I'm on the fence, so.
Look at that, we got everybody.
This is the worst.
Like, survey says we still don't have a positive consensus of opinion whether or not it is a realistic thing that can happen. So we got me, never happens. Jay, maybe happens. Michelle's like, show me how you do it.
I feel like I'm in jury duty again. Jeez.
Exactly, yeah. He was like, show me, bitches. That's Michelle. But Michelle's far too polite. Me, and yeah.
Sorry, Kevin. Okay, here. So, yeah, we're at an hour and 15, which is nice. But okay, so now my question is: do you guys believe that there's a system that can beat a? Is there a no? I won't say that. There is no system that can beat a casino. Is there a system that you feel can be, like, the odds of you losing would be the same as you winning a straight flush, for example? Like, the volatility would be so low that this would be a good system to use.
In crap specifically, or in
in any game? In any game.
No.
Okay.
I just think, like, obviously card counting, if we discount that, like any other kind of like system related thing, there's already the built-in house edge, right? I mean, like, there's a theoretical hold on all these single tables. So realistically, the longer you play, the more, you're going to lose in the long run. I think the only exception to that is probably poker, where, good players can win consistently over, compared to idiots like me who were like, oh, I'm not going to see any cards this time, all in. Do you know what I mean? Like, stupid shit like that. But I think I think that is probably where, I don't know if that's a system. It's just people who have a skill set where they can tilt the advantage to them. I don't think there's a similar one, unless you include card counting on like, I mean, it's like people betting like, the majority of the numbers on roulette are winning like one chip a spin and like, oh, I'm going to make money every spin, until they don't. And then you're like, oh, well, that was the worst system in the world. And now I have to, I have to double my bets and all that kind of stupid stuff, right?
Yeah, I'm with John. Other than card counting and poker, I don't think there is one.
Okay. I'm way more hopeful than you guys. I'm more optimistic. I don't know why.
It's mathematical. I just that's like mathematical, right? So card counting is like a mathematical type of thing.
But let me tell you my like 80-year-old strategy. So on craps, I would bet $1 on midnight for 29 rolls, and then after the 29th roll, I would bet $2 for. I think it was like 18 rolls, and then $3. So it's like this progressive. So I cover my losses.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that I could survive like enough. And I calculated what my average rate would be, and it was like $4.18 an hour.
Is that not really similar to like betting $5 on black, and then when you lose, betting 10, and you just need unlimited. You just need
I'm not
that to work.
But I'm not doubling because it's like 30-1, right? Or 31-1, depending on where you are.
But it's got
sort of. It fluctuates though. So, but I'm just saying that I'm covering my losses over like.
That's like a martingale bet on roulette.
It's not, but it's not
like the boringest way to gamble on the fucking planet, though.
Yeah, but I'm telling you, like, the volatility is like low enough that I could probably make a living making like $4.18 an hour. I don't know, like, what I'd be doing with that money. It'd probably be easier. It would be easier for me to just like work another job than actually try a system like that.
Yes, like any other job, even like sweatshops in some places.
You could get a paper route and get paid more than $4.18 an hour. And it would be less annoying to everybody else. You're bringing joy delivering in a newspaper. It'd be like, what do you do? Oh, I deliver a newspaper. I bring hope. And what do you do with your dollar? Like, it's like people who go like, play roulette and go, I'm playing $5 on red and $6 on black, and I'm beating the system. You're like, No, you're just annoying as hell. Please, God, go away. You know what I mean? Oh, I put the light on. That's very bright. Well, stop that.
Colleen says, yes, no fun at all. Hello, Joe. Nice to see you on. He just says, let's just work for minimum wage and free smiles.
Oh, that's about the tipping conversation? That's awesome.
Oh, that's funny. Yes, I understand.
Realistic.
I agree, Joe. We should all work for no money and just smiles.
I really think, I don't know. I understand like how, I don't know how people can like do this for a living, like gamble for a living, because there are people that can do it. But even like I think if I had no choice but to do that, it would be poker for sure. But could I beat like a 5% rake? I don't think I could. Like,
yeah, you have to play, like, it's tough at low limits, right? The 5% rake is 10%, isn't it? 10% everywhere now?
Yeah, well, yeah.
You need to play somewhere where the max rake is not as big of an impact, right? So
yeah,
that's part of it.
That's a problem.
But there's people who've played low limit and grind and have made a living playing low limit, even with that $5 rake.
Yeah. I'll say one thing to everyone about poker. The reason why I love poker is because when I'm in a hand and I have, let's say I river the nuts, this guy that I'm going against, your life has always been better than mine for the most part because you have money. I'm just struggling here. You're probably a doctor or a lawyer, or you have like rich parents or something like that. You're much better looking than me. I don't have hair. You have like blonde hair and amazing, you work out and everything. But that one instance in time, I'm better than you. And that's why it makes me feel good. The rest of the hands, yes, you're the best. You're number one. You can go into your like Porsche and drive away with your crew and guys that have the bikini clad girls that go to like places in Europe and shit. But that one hand, I get part of that back. And that's my one hand of revenge. So that's why I like playing poker.
You think the strangest shit when you play poker. When I played, I'd be like, man, where's the waitress? I've been waiting 15 minutes. I don't think that son of a bitch is probably a doctor. I'm pretty sure back home his girlfriend's pretty and she has a bikini and he drives a nice car. I was like, yeah, where's the waitress? She hasn't been on 15 minutes. My drink is empty.
Yeah, well, come on, like, you know how long, and this is the thing, like, if you're a poker player, you sit there and you think about anything. You think about everything. And you think about people and you try to, like, read them, right? Most of the time, people are really not very smart. They're not really looking at that. For me, I just overread everybody. I'm like, oh, yeah. I'm trying to, like, figure out your life, and I'm, like, listening to your phone conversation or something, and it's just like, oh, okay. Jacqueline, okay, yeah. Wonder what she's doing right now, and the guy like picks up the waitress or something. It's like, hey, can I get your number or something? And then it's just like, oh, okay, and I'm like, can I get a drink? She's like, no. So then where do I get my revenge? It's on a poker table. So, and I wait for my hand and I wait for that one moment. And a lot of the time it doesn't happen. Or I get run over, whatever.
So in this scenario where you kind of creating a persona for these people, do you give them unlikable names as well? Like, oh, Nigel, I really don't like you. I know you're a dentist in real life and you cheating on your wife and kids, trying to pick up the waitress. We know what you're like, Nigel.
Yeah, on the way home, yes. If I lose them, it's like, yes.
Yeah,
I think and I'm not like a pro player or anything, but I mean like just having having the composure is like probably like number one, especially like in the games that we have here right now. If the minute you go on tilt, you're done. It doesn't matter. I really think that the person that has like that composure and can like, if you can keep your heart rate at like under 80, I think you're fine, right? You're not gonna like freak out and just like play dumb. And if you want to try to do this for a living, it has to be like, you have to let go, right? Unless you have the nuts, and then you're going to like think like me in my head where it's like, this is it, like you're a doctor, good for you, right? I'm a dropout of university. Yeah, your life is better than me. Yes, I understand that. But not today, not this hand. This hand, my life is better than you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That's my spiel. Sorry. I had to say that at some point in this podcast because someone's going to listen to I hope one day, I don't even care if it's like 10 years from now, someone's going to listen to it and be like, oh my God, he's right. This is why I love poker too. Oh my God. I
hate Nigel too.
Yeah, exactly.
I never liked Nigel.
Damn lust and envy, whatever. Anyway. Oh my God. Where are we at? We're at hour 25. Hello, 15 people that are on. Holy smokes. If you have any questions for Jon and Michelle specifically, don't worry about me because I'm on a lot. So more so Jon and Michelle, please ask them. We got one here, sorry. Karen says, poker story for you. We had a poker player who was being asked to leave after having a few drinks. His statement as he was leaving, do you know who my dad is? And of course we asked, who's your daddy?
That's so good.
Oh my God.
Oh, my God, that's a good one.
We have 5 minutes left. What else do you want to talk about before we
Can I plug something that I get? Has nothing. I get no benefit out of this. It's just something interesting.
Sure.
So I came across this app, and because these people all work in the casino, maybe this is not new and everyone knows about this, but it's called Cash Live Poker, and it's like this. It's play live poker game twice, and so it takes like between 5 and 15 minutes, depending on how well you do. It's totally free. And you can win anywhere from 25 cents to $30. And that might go up as more people join the app. It's kind of new from what I could tell. But last month, I won $171 or $174 US. And it's completely free. You don't do a deposit. It's just this like all-in kind of scenario. And the top 5 people after 5 or 6 rounds go to the final table, and all of those people win money. So it's like totally free, like 15 to 20 minutes a day, and like $174 in 1 month. That was the second most of everybody that played that month. So it's not like you're gonna win thousands of dollars or anything. It's just something fun. And like this month I've won. That was we're in May, so that was April. This month so far I've won $7. So it's like, but it's like literally takes no time. It's just, so if anyone wants to check it out, literally I don't get anything out of it. There's no benefit from me if you play, but it's just kind of something cool that I came across, and who knows what's going to come of it as it continues to grow. So it's something kind of cool. Cash Live Poker.
Awesome.
So Jay, your craps system betting where you're making $4.18 an hour, you probably should be better playing this Cash Live game. Michelle's already made $7. How about that?
Oh my God, that's
no, there's only one way where I know I make money, and I'm gonna give you this secret, guys, because it's amazing. I go to a thrift store and I get a Tim Hortons mug for $2. And then I actually get like 2 of them because I like to keep one. So then, I sell it for like $20 because I guess they're collector's items. So then someone on eBay gives me $20. So then I have like $18 left. And then I actually bring my own mugs. So it's like they're actually paying me to buy this mug because I flipped one and then I got another one back. So I've been doing that for a little while now, but I think if you guys see any Starbucks mugs around there, I know I'm like giving away my secrets here, but people love those things. And just donate something. And then, it's basically someone paying you to buy this mug. So, and I buy more mugs, and I have a mug collection now. So it's like they're paying me to have a mug collection. So.
Awesome.
That reminds me of a guy who once told me that he had a special way to get all of the toothpaste out of his toothpaste tube, So I was like, well, what do you do then? I buy more toothpaste. So I was like, it's just what? Yeah. Are you like, I get cups? To be honest though, Jay, I'm glad you're married now and you settled down, because literally that is not going to get you some hot girl from, what is your hobby? I go through shifts though. Yes. I trade in second-hand coffee cups.
Yeah. Well, and I'm not mad at anybody anymore, right? I'm not jealous of anybody for having like a better life than me on a poker table. So I think I'm in a better headspace now. So
yeah, this is a lot better.
Jay, you have hustler in you, buddy. That's your brain's trying to hustle. That's all that is. That's a good thing.
Well, they say it's like the gig economy, and what's Jay's gig? Apparently, Tim Hortons cups.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miss the casino. Let's just say that. What have I been doing on my time away from the casino? We've been doing this channel, and I think it's pretty awesome. I know, we can talk about stuff like this, but then like a lot of truths come out. It's like how I feel about everything. So I think it's been welled up for like how many years now. So yeah.
Jay, like how you had this mental image of that guy on the other side, he's a doctor and he cheats on his wife because he tries to pick up, and his name's Nigel. In my head now, you have a trunk full of boxes full of like half-beaten Tim Horton cups that you try and flip on eBay. Or maybe, unless you have a minivan, because they probably hold more. There's more boxes, and you can go to the north because you're very, a very smart guy. So I can imagine you have a minivan now, and you drive around on your days off with your wife, and some people call it antiquing, but you call it.
No, my wife. First off, my wife doesn't approve of this, and second off, I'm not going to show you like any photos of this because you'll be like, okay, totally right, Jay.
Yeah, I swear to God, I hope like your desk and your walls are surrounded by boxes full of Tim Horton cups are ready to be flipped on eBay.
Oh my God. If it pays for this podcast, just let it go, okay?
See, now I'm going to go,
Sorry, go, John.
No, sorry, Michelle. I talk too much.
I was just going to say we love and support you no matter what, Jay.
Okay, good. All of my quirks and like. All right. John, what were you going to say?
No, I agree with Michelle. We all got to be a bit wonky sometimes, right? Saying that though, I remember when like Blockbusters, when it used to be Blockbusters, and they'd be like, buy one movie, it's like rent one movie $5. Rent 5 movies or 3 movies, you get a special mug. And I was like, like a pint glass. I remember I bought a stupid amount of movies to rent because I got a collection of Dr. No pint glasses. Like James Bond. And they had James Bond pint glasses with different movies on them. And I spent way too much, and it was stupid. And then they literally lasted one cycle in the dishwasher, and then it just became pint glasses. They didn't even last as long as the movies.
Oh my God.
So I understand your particular, kink for Tim Hortons cups.
Kink. Yeah, you have to put it that way, right? Oh my God.
Oh man.
Okay.
Hey,
anyways.
This is a place for to be open and honest about, your personalities. It's all good.
What kind of meeting is this? Yeah, so I'll do my final shout out first and then we'll go around. But The Croupier, that movie is actually on Netflix. So if you guys haven't seen it or you want to rewatch it, actually, I just saw it on Netflix. So
I watched it way back, but probably worth watching again.
We went to watch it in the movies. We went to watch it in the movies. We went to watch it in the cinema on, I think it was like Garneau or whatever, one of the older theaters in Edmonton. And I'm not gonna say who it was. One of the guys we went with is kind of a bigger guy. And when we were watching it, like the opening scene is the roulette ball spinning, and we're all there watching it, going, "Oh my God, that's spinning a really long time." And then all of us were like, "That's not real." And then all of a sudden, like during the movie, we heard like crack, and our friend, the bigger guy, kind of broke the back of the chair. And when I looked across where he was literally like, a foot and a half taller than me, he was like sat on the floor giggling because he broke the back of the chair off. So it was really funny because like he was giggling, we were giggling, and we're like, okay, like, then we had to get up and kind of like move it, like switch seats so we could kind of like stop sitting on the floor.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. Okay, guys, just any final shout outs. We'll start with Michelle.
Oh, right. I wasn't prepared for this. Shout out to the Oilers. I still love you.
Oh. Okay. You gotta bring that up this week.
I help it. I still support them.
All right, Jon.
No, this has been fun. Shout out to Michelle. It was great having her on and to be part of this every week or so, however long whenever Michelle comes on, it's always great to have her on and to be part of this our little gang of people sharing their quirks. It's awesome. So this is really fun. So I'm glad you're on board, Michelle.
Thanks, Jon.
I love how Colleen just said, "This is a safe space." I'm like, really? Is it? And then she's like, no.
Of course it is. When you think, I mean, I don't know how many people are watching right now, but I'm sure that nobody would make fun of you at, when we meet up in person again. That's it. Oh, yeah.
Oh my God. There's still 10 people on. Hello. Jeez. Are we that interesting? Or it's probably just Jon and Michelle.
Okay. I just have 3 devices playing it.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, that
you
ends it out. Yeah. Okay, we all have 3 each, and there's someone else. Probably
yeah,
Jon.
I got a couple of catfish accounts I come on, and actually my name is Colleen, apparently.
All right. So our schedule for the month, let's see here. So, oh no, that's not it. That's a Krupi Che. Here it is. So we had Natasha next week. It is Heather and Angela. So Heather from Vegas Aces is returning, and she has her new co-host with her. And then the week after, we have Connie from Casino Edmonton. She'll be on. And then Christine from Vegas. So the 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. is not applicable anymore. So the show is going to be from 8:30 until 10 because there's no weather.
Wah, wah, wah.
Wah, wah, wah.
Late jump in here. Hi, Shirley.
Hey, Shirley.
Look at that.
Hey, Shirley.
I worked with Shirley at Yellowhead.
Yeah, me too. Nice to see you. Hello. I miss everyone too. Miss you guys. Okay, guys, thank you so much for being on, and we totally appreciate the support. So thank you for liking and subscribing. Thank you for following our podcast on Spotify and on iTunes. We'll be getting more of the episodes. I know we're in a backlog right now, but we're going to start to bring them out on a more consistent basis. There's just a lot of editing going on with it, but then if you want to actually just hear the raw part of it, with all the ums and the ahs, that's us right now. You can just watch it on the Casino Dealer J YouTube channels. All right. Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say that Jay does a great job on editing it out. I sound really smart on these podcasts. So, to be honest, we talk for an hour and a half, and it's like a 15-minute podcast when we break out all the stupid shit I've said. So,
that's funny.
It's great. Jay's doing a great job, and I mean, to be honest, it's however, wherever this goes, it's all down to Jay. It's kind of cool.
Well, yeah. No, thank you. I mean, I can't wait till we do this live, which is kind of exciting. So, oh my God, Jon. First off, there's 2 Kevins on right now. First off, Kevin, go Leafs, go. Well, come on, that's not a line here. You know what? There is no such thing as dice influencing, okay? I was on your side at first, not anymore.
Nail in the coffin.
I'm just kidding. All right. And Jon, look, there's another Kevin that's saying that's some good editing if you sound smart.
Yeah. See, I told you. He's pretty proficient in his editing stuff. I never liked you, Kevin. I don't know who you are, but
All right, guys. Until next week. Thank you so much for being on, and thank you so much for joining.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you soon.
Good night, everyone.
Take care, guys.
Yeah.